ISHOWSPEED, one of the biggest content creators on the planet, and someone whose career was taken by storm when he entered the world of football. Speed has modeled a lot of his content and what he does around the sport of football and around Cristiano Ronaldo. So today, we're gonna let him live out that career as if it was really him. We have created ISHOWSPEED in FC25. You see, I had ChatGPT create what that card would look like and what some of his stats would be. Obviously, he's got some speed, and we've decided to put him on Sporting to really get him started the same way as CR7. I'm excited for this one, guys. I hope you are too. Let's get into it. But as it stands, Speed is nowhere near the starting 11 for this team, so we're going to give him some time to grow. So Speed is going to Genoa in Italy for 12 months. But this squad is already pretty insane as it is, so I don't plan on making any changes, just letting this year ride out and letting Speed get some growth. And at the end of season 1, Gyökeres, tons of goals, we know. But what we really care about is a +5 for Speed, 72 rated, 20 years old. He's going in the starting 11 next year, no doubt. So with season 1 over and done with, season 2 is where this really starts. And even better, he currently has the has potential to be special tag. This might go way better than I planned it. And with us placing second last season, not first, we have to play in the qualifiers to get into the Champions League. So we're here against Rangers. Let's see how game 1 goes. 1-1 draw. I'll come down to game 2. All right, game 2 here against Rangers. Are we going to the Champions League in season number 1? A 2-1 win secures that we are moving on to the Champions League. That was a complete lie. We still have another round or 2 of qualifiers to go to get to that point. Let's see if we can do it against Fenerbahce in game 1. And we get 4-0'd. That is tough. So in game 2, we need a win, and we need to win bad. Can we do it here? We got 1 goal back. Nothing substantial though. And halfway through season number 1, we are currently tied for first place in Liga Portugal. However, we were knocked out of the cup by Vitória, and we did not make the Champions League this year, but we did make the Europa League where we placed second overall. But Speed already up to a 77, that's +11 growth in just over a season and a half. Gyökeres up to a 91, and this squad all around is looking pretty dang good. Let's hope we can make it far in the Europa League and hope we can get Speed a little bit more growth. And season 1 is over, and there on the right hand side, ISHOWSPEED won Team of the Season in his first full year back at the club. And this time around, we have confirmed our Champions League place first overall in Liga Portugal, but we will not be winning the cup this year. And sadly, we didn't make it to the Europa League final this year either. 3-2 to Chelsea, we went out in the semifinals. Victor Gyökeres, 56 goal contributions in 57 games, and Speed +7 overall this year, 80 rated now in just 2 years since being 67 rated. 18-1 this year, crazy for him. Starting with a team like Sporting feels almost like a cheat code. They just have so many star players in their squad and so many players with high potential. But with Speed already 80 rated, I cannot wait to see where this guy goes. And with our first true Champions League season underway, and with us having our first true Champions League season here in season number 2, I think it is, maybe 3, we start off facing Ajax and Monaco, then into Manchester City, November's FCSB and Bergamo Calcio, December, Bayern Munich, and January is Rangers and RB Leipzig. This is a very, very tough league phase. And here we are halfway through the season, and Speed is already a +4, 84 rated already. Like I said, this is going way better than expected so far, but he no longer has the has potential to be special tag, so hopefully his growth doesn't stunt here. And we are currently first in Liga Portugal once again, but we were knocked out of the cup by Nacional on penalties. And we barely scraped the playoffs of the Champions League, where we're going to face Ajax. And I completely blanked this time. I just simulated the games against Ajax. We drew 2-2 in the first leg and won 2-1 in the second leg. So we are moving on to the next round. That is against Bayern Munich, and we're not going to miss this one. So here we are in game 1 against Bayern Munich. Speed up to an 85 already. I'm hoping his growth is not stunted. And let's see if he can get us a win here in game 1 against Bayern Munich. 3-1 loss. Gyökeres gets us 1 goal, so we're going to need to climb back in game 2. All right, game 2 here, and for some reason our whole back line is upset. Can't imagine why that is. Let's see if we can do it against Bayern in game 2 here. 1-0 loss. We are not moving on in the Champions League this year. But even with that Champions League loss, we are going straight back to the Champions League, placing first in Liga Portugal. And the Champions League did go to Bayern this year, so we did lose to the eventual winners just a lot earlier on than I hoped we would. But Speed ended up taking over as our top goal scorer, technically tied with Victor Gyökeres. 29 goals and 7 assists for him, +7. He is already 87 rated. This is absolutely insane. I did not think ChatGPT was going to make an all-star like this. I thought it was going to take 4, 5, 6 seasons to get to this point. We're doing it in 3. But I can't say it doesn't help to have a team like this surrounding him. This Sporting squad was already top tier, and it just keeps getting better. And if we thought last year's Champions League group was hard, we are starting off this year with Leverkusen and Atletico Madrid. October is Napoli, November AC Milan and Wolfsburg, December's Real Madrid, and January is Marseille and Slavia Praha. This is a terrible group for us, especially if we already placed 22nd last year. I don't know how we're gonna do this year. All right, we've made it to the 1st of February and we are currently 3rd in the league. Not so great, but we are close to catching up. And we were knocked out of the cup in the quarterfinals to Porto. But the Champions League went much better this year, even with a really tough group. 4 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss. I'll take it. 6 means we're going straight to the round of 16. But this time we're taking our top scorer, 90 rated Speed, to the round of 16 in the Champions League. 21 goals and 8 assists for him. He's beating out Victor Gyökeres, one of the best players in this game for scoring goals. But our round of 16 matchup is against Real Madrid. This is going to be tough. I went back and checked. We didn't beat Real Madrid. They were one of our draws. Let's see if we can beat them here in game 1 of the Champions League. We do not. It is a 1-0 loss. We had better stats, so hopefully we can come back in game 2. Game 2 it is here. Come on, Speed. Carry us against Real Madrid. 2-2. We are not moving on again from the round of 16. But we did not get an automatic Champions League spot this year. We're going to have to go to the playoffs to try and get into the UCL. Speaking of the finals between Liverpool and Barcelona, no Real Madrid there. And somehow Speed didn't win player of the season. 37 goals, 11 assists, up to a 91 overall. And I am still so surprised that this team is not getting further. Just look at this squad. I'm going to make a change next year, a formation change. Otherwise, I don't know what else we can do to fix this team. But with Speed 91 rated, 23 years of age, maybe it's time for a move for him. Who knows? And with that formation change, I need a strong right back. So we are trading out Ivan Fresneda for Thiago Santos coming over from Aston Villa. So with our squad looking like this, looking really strong, I really hope we can get further than the round of 16 in the Champions League. We have a full 91 plus rated attack. Like, we should be scoring way more goals than this. Okay, and our Champions League qualifying match is against SK Rapid. We get to play 2 matches against them. Let's see how game 1 goes. 1-1 draw. We had a crazy possession though. Let's hope we can do it in game 2. All right, game 2 here against SK Rapid. We need a win to move on to the next round. 3-2, we do it. We're moving on. So our second qualifying tie is against PSV, a much tougher opponent for sure. Let's see what we can do here against PSV. It's a 1-1 draw again. We keep leaving it to the second leg, man. All right, second leg. I believe this would send us to the Champions League if we can win here. Can we do it with Sporting and Speed? 2-1 win. We are moving on to the Champions League. We're moving on to the league phase. That's a rough start already, barely beating 2 not so great teams compared to our starting 11. But we are in the league phase this time. Let's get out of the round of 16. That's my goal. Now, this might be a controversial decision, but just like Cristiano Ronaldo, eventually he went to Manchester to make his name, and we're going to do the same for Speed, just not the right side of Manchester. We're going to take over as Manchester City head coach, and we're going to bring over Speed no matter what it takes. So here we are. It's not Manchester United, but it is Manchester, and it is the Premier League with a big team that I'm hoping can get us that Champions League that we've been looking for. And thankfully, we're taking over in a good spot. Man City is currently undefeated in the Premier League. They also only have 1 loss in the Champions League. And while I'm glad I made this decision, it may have gone horribly right. Now, I spent all of our budget, including a swap deal with Bradley Barcola, who was on Manchester City in this save, just to get Speed on this team. And when we left him at Sporting, he was 91 overall. But he has just come over at 97 rated. 23 years old still, 97 rated Speed is on this team with Holland, and Bellingham is here, Vitinha, Diaz, and Capier. This is a crazy squad. Desiree Doué on the left. If we don't win everything this year, I don't know what else we can do. However, we ended up placing 19th in the Champions League, down here with Real Madrid, Leverkusen, Frankfurt, Dortmund. This was a crazy year for Champions League. So we'll be facing RB Salzburg in the playoffs. All right, playoff match to get into the round of 16 here. This team is crazy. 97 Speed is just insane. Can we do it in game 1 here? It's a 3-3 draw. All right, game 2 it is. 3-3 draw. It comes down to game 2. Can we go to the round of 16 here? And we do not. And this game is absolutely rigged. We are not moving on to the round of 16. We get knocked out by Salzburg. So even though we didn't make it even to the round of 16 this year, we did get automatic Champions League qualification. We also seem to have won the Community Shield before I joined. We did not make it to the FA Cup final, but we did win the Carabao Cup final. And it was FC Barcelona against Sporting in the Champions League final. And our first signing here is going to bolster the midfield. We had 2 top-tier midfielders and then Bernardo Silva dropping to 79 rating. So we've brought in someone a lot younger and a lot higher rated. It is 87 rated Andre Santos coming over from Arsenal for a swap deal. And I was trying not to shop from Sporting for any players because we made them absolute all-stars. However, one of our former players did leave Sporting and move to Crystal Palace, so if I can get a player that I know is halfway decent and also take from a Premier League club, I'm going to go for it. Zeno DeBast coming over to Man City from Crystal Palace. And so far, Speed has been one of the most unlucky players when it comes to Champions League. This year's league phase, though, starts off with Lille. October is Real Madrid and Split. November is Başakşehir and Frankfurt. December is Porto, back to our Portuguese roots. And January is both Inter Milan and AC Milan. We're going to spend a lot of time in Italy. But I have some bad news. Speed is injured. 97 rated Speed has torn his quads, and he's not able to play for another 8 weeks. And halfway through the season, we are at 54 points, first in the Premier League. We did win the FA Community Shield once again. We're still in the FA Cup this year, and it looks like we're moving on in the Carabao Cup. I don't know if there's a second leg there, but we placed just outside of the top 8 automatic qualification spots in the Champions League. Sadly though, I've already seen who we're going to play, and we have to face Bayern Munich in the playoffs just to get to the round of 16. And like I said before, we have had the worst luck in the Champions League in this video. Let's hope we can change that here against Bayern Munich. Someone might be injured. Let's see what happens here. 2-2, it's a draw. We need to win in game 2. If we get knocked out here, I'm going to be very upset. I didn't realize it was Andre Santos who was injured, but we're here in game 2. Come on, let's move on to the round of 16, please. EA Sports give it to us, and we do on penalties, barely on penalties. We're moving to the round of 16. All right, Andre Santos is still injured, but we're here against Lyon in the round of 16. This is the stage we have not been able to make it past yet, even once in this video. Granted, we've played teams like Real Madrid, we've played Bayern. Not only is this squad fantastic, it's Man City. They've got to give us something for that, right? Game 1 here against Lyon. It is 3-2. We are up by 1 for the first time in a while, but we actually were not dominating this game. Round of 16, game 2 here. Come on now. We got to get something out of this. We need to move on, and this is our one chance to move past the round of 16 into the quarterfinals, and we do it. 2-0 win there. Kabore and Vitinha send us through. And now that we've made it past the round of 16 for the first time, we are facing Chelsea. This squad is fantastic, and I'm excited to see what we can do against Chelsea. Game 1 here, though. Let's see. It's a 3-3 draw with ISHOWSPEED scoring a brace. Let's see if we can do it in game 2. I would like to get to a final at least once in this video, right? Can we take down the current Conference League champions to move into the semifinals for, again, the first time this video? Can we do it here? It's a 4-2 win, 7-5 aggregate. This would have been a fun game to watch, and ISHOWSPEED scores 4 goals over 2 games against Chelsea. But our semifinal matchup is not going to be a breeze. It is Real Madrid. And while this team is good, Real Madrid always has the stars. I believe they still have Mbappe in the save. Game 1 against Real Madrid is going to be tough, but we take a 3-0 win. Heading into game 2, I am okay with that. It's game 2, the semifinals. We haven't made it this far yet, but we are 3-0 up against Real Madrid. Anything could happen here. It is Real Madrid, but we may just make it to our first final of this video. Can we do it? Another 3-1 win. ISHOWSPEED scoring again to end the game off. We're going to the finals. We are going to the Champions League final. And our UCL final opponent is going to be AS Roma. I'm pretty sure they had to knock out Sporting to get there. Yes, they did. 5-2 over our former club, Sporting. And that's saying something because we know how good that Sporting team is. And taking a look around the grounds before this Champions League final, we did end up winning the Premier League again. We won the Community Shield. We did not make it to the FA Cup finals, but we did turn Manchester blue for the Carabao Cup final. Looks like Borussia Dortmund won the Europa League, and FCSB won the Conference League. And it all comes down to this, the Champions League final versus Roma. Speed, however, with 33-12 is absurd, and that's what it's all about. Speed, 97 rated, has made it to a Champions League final with a Manchester club. Reminiscent of Ronaldo at Man U. Wish we could have made that happen, but it would have been a much longer rebuild. But the biggest blow of all is that Erling Haaland has a red card for the Champions League final. And our only true backup is Mika Biereth. 84 rated, not bad at all, but not who you want up top during a Champions League final. We're going to need to rely on Speed to score some goals for us. Let's see if he can do it here. Let's get into this match. And here we are, kickoff in the Champions League final. I would love to get an early goal here, and I would love for Speed to win a Champions League. 25 years of age, 97 rated. Again, I don't know how that happened, but here we are early. We get a shot off. I almost completely missed that. And I just realized, let's see if it shows it. Yeah, Bellingham in the bottom left. Bellingham is number 7. I never changed Speed's number when he moved over. He would absolutely kill us if he found out he was not number 7. But he wins the ball back early. He's got 97 pace, by the way. Let's see if he uses it here, which he just blew past every defender. Ball comes in from Speed. Terrible pass, but it was worth a shot. Can we get the ball up to Speed? He is kind of there on the right-hand side. Pass to Bellingham to Speed. Speed is in. and it's a goal. And that is a goal from Speed in the 35th minute here. Again, I wish I had made him number 7. Horrible way to end this if this is how we win. Pass from Bellingham into Speed, first time finish. What a goal. We remember what happened the last time Man City played an Italian side in a Champions League final, and I'd be okay with a 1-0 win as well if that's what it takes. And we head into halftime 1-0 up here. Speed with the goal, and I had no reason to make changes at halftime. This team is doing all right so far. Roma on a little bit of a counter attack here, on top of the box, gets it into the box, pass out, shot, and it is saved by Jan Oblak. Kind of weird that Man City has 2 retiring age goalkeepers, but it's working for him. And hold on, Roma just made a sub. I gotta make sure that that was who I thought it was, and it was. It's Joe Bellingham. We have Jude Bellingham at our camp slot. They had Joe Bellingham in their squad, just subbed him out for Mattia Colombo here. It scared me for a second. I thought the game made an auto sub for us, but no, Joe Bellingham versus Jude for a Champions League final. 70th minute, let's resume the rest of this match. That freaked me out for a second. We're putting plenty of pressure on this side, and Speed winning the ball back. 90th minute, he wants a late goal, gets it to Bellingham though, unselfish pass, and Bellingham shoots, and it's over. At the end of the game, the ref might just call the whistle there, and he does. Manchester City has won the Champions League final 1-0 over an Italian side. What did I say? And Speed has scored the winning goal, the only goal in this game. Not only was this Joe beating Jude Bellingham, something that I didn't really know was going to happen in the first place, but we have turned Speed into the best player in the world. He needs about 4 or 5 more to catch up to Ronaldo's numbers and a couple Ballon d'Ors in between, but it's safe to say Speed had a great career following in Ronaldo's footsteps. Kind of. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below what other type of content you want to see. But for now, that's all for me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.